Thank you for listening, citizens, to the Daily Disney Blog Podcast with, of course, the bodacious, could he be the new launchpad, Brad Hughes. You'll feel the difference. Stay dangerous. Darkwing Duck out.
Hi, this is Bill Farmer, the voice behind Goofy and Pluto and many of your Disney favorites. And you're listening to the Daily Disney Blog, right here.
Hey everybody, this is Brad with the Daily Disney Blog, your source for all things Disney and a how-to guide to Walt Disney World. Before we get the show started, I would like to invite you to follow me over on Twitter at Daily Disney Blog. You can also check out our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/The Daily Disney Blog. You can send listener questions to thedailydisneyblog@gmail.com. And please rate and review the show over on iTunes. Even if you don't listen on iTunes, still do that. It helps us out, lets more people find out about the show. With all that said, please sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hello everybody, this is Brad with the Daily Disney Blog, and today's episode is going to be somewhat unique and call for a different kind of introduction. Today I am back again with a good friend of the show, Benjamin Lancaster, a.k.a. Walt's Frozen Head on Twitter. And Benjamin, what's up, man?
Nothing much. How are you doing, Brad?
I'm all right. How you doing, man? Everything good? Everything good?
Everything's going great.
That's what I'm talking about. All right, so you're on the show for a very specific reason. And that reason is because I love you. But other than that, you do actually have a reason for coming on the show. So why don't you tell everyone who may not be aware of you what's going on? And just a heads up, if you've heard the last episode that you were on, it was episode 23. You may have heard this already, but there's a lot more people listening now than there were back then. So I'm gonna give it to you, man.
Well, I will try not to be redundant as well. But to catch people up a little bit, I am Walt's Frozen Head's intern, meaning I help him run his Twitter account, and he tweets humorous commentary about the park's life and other such things. But currently, we are in the middle of a fundraising project for a feature film called The Further Adventures of Walt's Frozen Head. It's exactly what it sounds like. We start out with the premise that every year Walt is de-thawed and gives advice on how to run the company for the next year, and then they have to put him back under.
That's so funny.
And the executives have never allowed him up to see his final dream, Walt Disney World and the Magic Kingdom specifically. And so when a low-level cast member wanders down into the Utilidors one day...
I didn't know I was starring in this movie.
Yes. Yeah, you didn't get that memo?
Oh, no, I didn't. Oh, send me my lines. I'll learn them real quick. Lower level cast member. That's me all day.
Well, Walt's Head convinces the cast member to take him up for a day in the Magic Kingdom.
That's so funny.
That is the basic premise of the film. And our exciting news recently was that Ron Schneider is playing Walt's Frozen Head. For those of you who don't know who Ron Schneider is, he was the original dream finder at the Journey into Imagination Pavilion. He recorded some of the dialogue for the ride, but he was also the original walk-around character.
Shut up.
Yes.
Dude, that's awesome.
It is awesome. He also, before he came out to Florida, he understudied for Wally Bogue at the
Diamond Horseshoe.
Golden Horseshoe.
Golden Horseshoe.
Yeah.
Sorry, Diamond Horseshoe's one out here.
Yes.
Dude,
yes.
That's fantastic.
And then they brought him out here in Florida in '82 for Epcot's opening to create the walk-around character of the Dreamfinder. And, he was the one with Figment on his left hand and, the whole bit. So.
Wow, as an Epcot, like an old Epcot nerd, that is very exciting for me.
I know.
I can't wait.
We've had many people kind of, because I've actually gotten to hang out with him a little bit and, go and attend things, and many people have come up to him and shown him pictures of them with him 30 years ago, and that sort of thing. So.
Oh, that's so cool. How did that come about?
Basically, we were looking to cast Walt. It was something that we always were pushing towards the end of the process, and it was kind of on a whim. I had met him at a screening, just gone through, shaking his hand, sort of talked to him a little bit about his book, which is fantastic especially if you're an Epcot fan, but if you're a fan of themed entertainment in general. It's called From Dreamer to Dream Finder. You can get it on Amazon.
Okay.
And details his sort of experience working in themed entertainment. And we really the hardest part was finding his email address, and then we sort of just reached out to him, asked him if he'd submit an audition, because he could very well be a fantastic theme park performer, but not do well on film. He submitted the audition, absolutely blew us away, blew everyone else out of the water who was sort of in the running, and we said, okay, the role's yours. And we me and my other producer met him at a Perkins and basically said, hey, what do you think about doing this? And he was absolutely on board. So,
dude, that's an awesome story. I love that.
Yeah,
that is so
how it
great.
Came about.
That's so cool, man. So how do people contribute to this if they want to help out, which you should, by the way?
Yes, and you should by the end of the day on Sunday.
Yes, make
if
sure you do it now,
because that is the end of the Kickstarter. You can go to Kickstarter.com and you can search Walt's Frozen Head, or you can hop over to Twitter and it's Walt's Frozen Head, no O in Frozen, and I'm basically constantly tweeting about it right now because
Sweet.
we are at the very end.
This is some behind the scenes stuff. Tweet it to me and I'll quote it and retweet it and all that stuff.
Okay, great.
I'll do that as soon as we get done with this. So if people don't remember what you and me did last time, we stayed in Epcot because that's, we both love Epcot quite a bit. And we talked about some cool changes that could have been taking place at Epcot and Future World. And we're going to continue that tradition today with a look around World Showcase and kind of go through what we think would be some cool changes to do at World Showcase. A lot of stuff has actually happened inside World Showcase since our last episode with the opening of Frozen Ever After. Just out of curiosity, have you had a chance to ride that yet?
I have not. I've watched the ride-throughs, but I've not actually been in Epcot since that opened.
Dude, It's unbelievable.
That's what I keep hearing.
It's awesome.
Everyone who's ridden it just says absolutely unbelievable.
It's great. It's one of those things where I think some people we're going to hate it. We're just going to try to hate it regardless because of Maelstrom going away. But it's undeniably awesome.
And I will admit I'm one of those Epcot purists who cringes at the fact that it has no educational value, right?
Yes.
And I'm complaining to Ron, and when Dreamfinder tells you you're holding on to 1980s Epcot too strongly, you just put your head down and say yes, sir, yes, sir.
Right. Yeah.
So
that's awesome. So I thought we would do a very similar episode to what we did last time around. I almost said Frozen World. Good Lord, Future World. Well, that's what we should. That's what they should just rename Walt Disney Frozen World, Walt Disney World Frozen World. But do it around World Showcase. So I will give you the option of starting from the proper way, according to Wedway Radio, from Mexico to Canada, or if you would like to go counterclockwise and go Canada to Mexico. If that is your call, my friend.
I always go Mexico to Canada, so
I knew I liked you.
I will do that this way as well.
All right, so Mexico Pavilion is, in my opinion, one of the stronger pavilions, especially for when we're talking about old school Epcot. It's a true pavilion where you go inside and there's an attraction and there's restaurants and there's more than one thing to do once you get inside. How would you change Mexico at Epcot and World Showcase?
This is a hard one because I think it is probably, with the exception of America, it's probably their strongest attraction. Frozen set aside for the time being.
Yes.
Because it does, it does give you a little sense of Mexico in there. It's not, it's not as in your face as maybe Maelstrom was or as River of Time was, but it's definitely trying to give you a taste of the culture. My guess is that we are going to see changes depending on how well that Pixar film does that's coming out.
Yeah. The name is escaping me right now.
I think it's called Coco.
Yes, that's it.
Also called the film that's going to be confused with The Book of Life.
Yes, 100% agree. I'm glad they've took a few years to kind of flush it out a little bit, because I don't think it was supposed to come out before the actual release date that they've said. But I think some distance between that and Book of Life is going to do wonders for that film. Because if it came out 2017, people are like, "What is this? A weird But we haven't seen the film yet. We just seen that one picture, but it is very reminiscent of the Book of Life. I never actually even saw that movie, and I really wanted to. It's one of those ones
I saw it.
away.
It was interesting.
Was it good? Interesting.
It kind of went off the rails at parts. I felt like they lost the narrative thread a little bit. If you chop 20 minutes out of it, it'd probably be a better movie.
Gotcha. Okay, so yeah, this is the only one that I was, in Norway, because they just changed so much, that I was really having a hard time with thinking about what you could do. Get better food at that restaurant inside that I can't think of the name of right now.
I've never actually eaten there, so I can't comment on how the food is.
I've never eaten there, but people that I know who have the exact same taste as me, especially when it comes to Mexican food, because I'm super into Mexican food, is that it's way overpriced, and it's not quite as good as they had hoped it would be. So I don't think Disney does Mexican food well.
Well, it's going to be hard to do Mexican food too, because let's face it, every small town in America has a decent Tex-Mex restaurant.
Yeah, totally.
So you're dealing with expectations, and then you're also dealing with the fact that there is sort of a level of quality that people are already accustomed. They have the same problem with Chinese food.
Yep,
honestly.
Totally. And it's one of the things too. Like, there's certain things that I like about restaurants back home that I don't like here. You know what I mean? Like certain like salsas that I've been eating this type of salsa for 15 years now, and now I'm trying something that's completely different, and you're just gonna be like, this is kind of weird. So
I think the best thing they could do with culinary wise is to really go hard in on some region of Mexico that's not Tex-Mex.
That's a good move.
Say this is and I don't know Mexican cuisine well enough to tell you what that would be, but this is a blank restaurant.
That's a good idea, actually.
Yeah, so that would be my 2 cents. So you're basically telling people this is not Tex-Mex. This is its own thing.
Yeah.
Don't expect the sombreros hanging on the ceiling and the $2 margarita that you get at your hometown, whatever. Yeah,
so Mexico is almost kind of, I guess you could kind of change out those cultural exhibits in the very front when you first walk in. You could always allow people to climb on the pyramid. That would help things out too, I think.
I think that'd be a great upcharge, personally.
It would be kind of cool if you could do those climbing walls at other theme parks. You could charge $5 and climb up the pyramid there.
I think we need that. I think we need like a what do they call it? Zip line for France. I think we need. I just think. You know what? You need some extreme sports in World Showcase.
I'm with you, because if it's not extreme sports, you're just going to get drunk. And which one's more safe? All right, so
I have to say, in honor of us doing World Showcase, I might have had a few before we started.
I would have had a few, and by a few I mean like 45, if I hadn't been feeling bad this week. But that's just not on my wheelhouse right now. I miss it though. I'm actually going to pause this. So yeah, that was the Hollywood studio story. So we both agree that Mexico is pretty perfect, with some minor exceptions as far as a World Showcase pavilion goes. I think we should just skip over Norway, because in the next 15, 20 years, nothing's going to happen. It's going to be that right.
They're not going to touch anything.
Here's something I wanted. Have you seen the Vikings yet?
I have
seen
them on Twitter.
Okay.
I have video. I've not seen them in person.
Okay. I love them. And the first time that I saw a picture of them, I was like, what? What is this? Like, this is retarded looking. This is so stupid. And I was in line for Frozen Ever After, and they were interacting with us, and I was like, oh my God, this is hilarious. They don't talk. So it's all just like, and they interact with you like that. And for all you Epcot fan, or I think they were Hollywood Studios, the lead singer of Mulch, Sweat, and Shears is one of the Vikings. So that's
pretty great.
Yeah, so he's out there doing all that stuff. So Norway's not going anywhere anytime soon. So I guess we just straight move on to China. I always forget the layout here. China, right? Okay.
China.
All right, what do you got for China?
Basically the only thing I think that needs to happen here is to swap out the movie.
Yes, agreed.
And my inclination would be to do something if you can get Eddie Murphy back, because if you can't, you don't bother. I mean, if you can't get Eddie Murphy back, you just don't even try. Yeah, and you do a Moose Shoe's History of China.
That's a good idea. I actually kind of like that. That's a good idea. That'd be good.
I think you can still do some semi-educational, but just that film could use an update.
I think it would be cool. I know it was just kind of specialized here, but to kind of include like if they do a documentary, Eddie Murphy doing Mushu, to do like a history of the Great Wall of China.
Oh, I think that would be a great idea.
I think that'd be cool because it's been around forever, man. I think it's been around for a long time. It's fascinating. I think it'd be cool to do a. God, people are gonna get so mad at me for saying this, but doing I think this would be the best place you could do a Mulan dark ride, because I think Mulan has passed that time frame where she's still pretty popular as far as princesses go, and it's not it's not the best Disney film. Let's be honest. It's a good one. It's not. It's not my top 10. I don't think it would be in your top 10 either.
Yeah, it's middle of the pack.
Yeah,
really.
It's up there with me for like movies like. It's probably a little higher up than like Treasure Planet, but it's in that.
Ooh, Treasure Planet's pretty low on my list.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
When's the last time you saw Treasure Planet?
Not too long ago.
Oh, you're killing me, dude. I love Treasure Planet.
The CG does not hold up.
I don't care. I don't care about that. I love it. That John Resnick song from the Dolls. Oh, that song's awesome. I love that song. I love that movie, man. That's depressing. How dare you? That's okay. It's okay. If BuzzFeed can put that Peter Pan is one of their worst Disney films of all time, you can put Treasure Planet down low.
Oh wow! Okay.
If you never read that list, you should go and read it and get very angry very quickly. So I was kidding about the dark ride actually. Although now that I said that, it actually kind of does make sense to put that there because, like I said, she's kind of still popular, and you could do a cool scene with like the Huns and the whole "Let's get down to business" song that everyone loves still. Mm-hmm. I don't know where you put it, but I feel like they need to do, and this is kind of my issue with World Showcase pavilions for the most part. It's like I like learning the history of it, but sometimes it seems like it's almost too historic, and you don't really get a sense of what the culture is like now.
Yeah, well, part of that is because the films were usually made long ago, and haven't been, get updated every 20 years. And then part of it is how the country wants to portray themselves. Yeah. And let's be honest, with China, there's a lot of political considerations to
totally
talk. Like how exactly do we address Tibet? It's that's something you don't really talk about.
Yeah, totally. And that's just one of those. It's one of those. China for me is one of the ones. It's like, well, what do you do if you don't go old school China?
Yeah.
So I don't really think I have.
I mean, Shanghai Disneyland.
Yeah. You could. I know they were doing something in there for a while with.
It's like a mini preview center or something.
Yeah, something like that. Kind of one man's dream-ish, kind of for Shanghai, but like on a very small scale. I actually haven't gone to look. I don't know if it's still there or not. I need to go check and see if it's still there. But
it was where the Terracotta Warriors usually are, right?
Yeah. It's in that little that iconic building there. But yeah, China. The food is okay. That's one of the good things about this pavilion. The food is really good, so there's not much to improve there. Some of it is.
Well, yeah. See, I would have
Japan's
a classic
better.
dim sum service.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Doing China, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's something I think they could incorporate. Training American tourists on how exactly you order dim sum might be a little difficult, but I think if they could pull it off, it would be a really great. Have you ever had dim sum?
I don't think I've had good dim sum. I've had it at some kind of Chinese restaurants around Concord, North Carolina. So if that's legitimate dim sum, then yes, I've had it.
I mean, the experience is it's lunch or brunch, and then they wheel around little carts, and you point at what you want, and everything's served family style, and that's kind of the experience.
It's like dumpling, they have dumplings and just all kinds of stuff, right? It's like
it's all kinds of stuff. So the people will wheel the cart by, and then you point at what you want.
Gotcha.
You point if you don't speak Chinese,
which I don't, and I pointed.
Yeah, exactly. So that's I think that would be a fun experience to add, and something a little more cultural than the kind of quick service and table service options they have now.
Yeah, because I think you run into this same problem with Mexico. It's like, well, we have Chinese food at home.
Yeah.
There's another one situations where it's like, yeah, we have a good Chinese place 20 feet from us that delivers. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's another one of those. China's a tough one. All right, let's move on from China to the African outpost.
I think we're at African Outpost.
Here's my idea: bulldoze it and start over. What is this place? Every time I walk by this place, I just get so angry because, like, literally, dude. I saw this the other day. The menu is hot dogs and chips.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so accurate and authentic.
Well,
oh God.
Did you ever watch the original Epcot special with Danny Kaye?
I have. Yes, that's the one where they show everything. Like they show Smart One, the robot, and they have the song. What's the song that he sings? Danny Kaye sings.
He does a couple.
He does 2 or 3.
The
but
21st
century's here.
Now.
Yes. Yeah, that one. Yeah, I've definitely watched that several times. But now I always get confused. Was this where the Equatorial Africa Pavilion was supposed to be?
That is my understanding.
Okay.
Because this is a big swath of land.
It is. It's misleading. You don't know how back that goes. It goes a ways back.
So I mean, my fix here is build what you were going to build in 1982.
And
just pull out those blueprints and build it.
And just build that. We're set. Yeah. And let's kind of go into what that was for people who don't know what we're talking about. People are probably going like, what are you dorks talking about? And here's what we're talking about. There were plans for this Equatorial Africa Pavilion, and there was going to be everything from a like fake savannah view. We would like go up into this view tower, and you would see like projections essentially of these animals on a Serengeti, and it was going to have smell technology, smellers in there, so you were going to smell the savannah. There was also going to be was this the Rhine River cruise, or was that Germany?
No, that was Germany.
Okay, I get that.
The Rhine River's in Germany.
Dummy. I'm so stupid. If you guys hear how bad my geography is, I told you guys I was dumb. This was also the one that was going to have the show where it was the drums and they lit up, and it was supposed to be this like amazing experience where you'd walk into this theater and you were going to hear drums, and it was going to be like a really elaborate show put on. And it was just going to have lights and sounds, and it was supposed to be, from everything I've heard, this was supposed to be the best Epcot World Showcase Pavilion. And
it was definitely the largest, and it definitely had the most most attractions in the pavilion.
Yeah, it was going to be fantastic. I feel like I'm missing something. Am I missing one thing?
There was a live show. I believe there was also an audio animatronic show of some kind. But these things always change. It
depends on which set of plans you're looking at too. Yeah,
definitely.
But yeah, just build that. Like, how awesome does that sound?
I worry that basically we have something similar to that in Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
Though Animal Kingdom has a very different feel. It's a much grittier, realer feel than, at Epcot, and probably not necessarily one that modern African nations would like to be as closely associated with.
Yeah. That was always my thought on it, that the reason they didn't go further with that was because of Animal Kingdom. Now, I know some people don't think that's the case, but to me it's very odd and coincidental that there's a theme park that has those elements in it, and then they didn't use it for Epcot. To me, it just seems too coincidental. So I'm with you on that one. I think a lot of that stuff went to Animal Kingdom. But guys, if you haven't done research on the Equatorial Africa Pavilion, look it up. I mean, it was supposed to be something special, and it's just such a bummer because, like, when you're walking through that, you go over the bridge and you're walking through and you see that little hut on the left, and you see like the bead stands, and that's it. And then there's that weird like long that is a huge area that they could have done this with, and it just bums me out. Like I have to like seriously like turn my head and look at the lagoon because it bums me out so bad.
Well, let's also realize that Epcot has a ton of expansion pads left.
Yes.
They could drop many countries in there and still have plenty of room.
Yep. And that'd be kind of fun at the end of this to kind of talk about what countries we would like to. Let's do that. Let me just what countries we would like to see. So go ahead. The next one is
Italy or Germany next?
Oh gosh, Germany.
I can't remember which one comes first. Let's go Germany.
It's Germany, right? All right. Now, see, I'm second guessing myself. Let me look at.
I think it's Italy and then Germany, because I think America sits between Germany and Japan. It's two enemies in World War I and World War II.
I thought it was Italy and America next to each other?
Maybe.
I've been wrong 67
Okay.
times today. Let's see.
Regardless, let's just pick one and go with it.
Okay, outpost. So it's Germany, Italy, the American Adventure, Japan. Okay, so this is the outpost. They don't even mark it as a. This is so fun. This map I'm looking at. They don't even mark
It's not
it as
really
a
a pavilion.
as a pavilion because it's not. So the next one, yes, is Germany. Now,
Okay, Germany.
how do you do Germany? And this is another one of those touchy ones where you're like, oh,
Yeah.
which direction
let's
do we
not
go?
do 20th century history.
Yeah, let's definitely not do World War II era Germany. So I think with what they have here in this pavilion, the only thing they're lacking is an attraction because the rest of it is great.
That is true.
I like most everything at the Germany pavilion. I love the caramel shop. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. I'm not a huge fan of Oktoberfest. I prefer the counter service restaurant there.
Beer garden?
Yeah, beer
You mean-
garden.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I
I said
love beer
Oktoberfest. I
gardens,
like
so-
Oktoberfest. I ate there once and it was okay.
Oh,
I was expecting brats. Like I wanted them to just bring me brat after brat after brat and that would have been totally fine.
I think the ambience in that restaurant
Oh, it's fantastic.
rivals any other Epcot restaurant
Oh,
personally.
I will give you that 120%. I'm back with you on that one.
So yeah, I mean it's one of those. It's night for a interior building that looks like night, like the Mexico Pavilion. But it's also got the Oompa band and kind of the projected moon. And,
I love the projected moon.
It's a very nice place to sit and listen to an Oompa band.
I give you that 120%. The food was just the only thing that was like, okay.
That's fair. I had a good experience, but it could also depend on the day and
Totally.
your expectations.
Totally. And like I said, I just wanted brats. That's all I wanted.
That's fair.
So what would you put here in Germany? Because there's not a lot of characters and stuff based on. There's no IPs you could throw in there to make it other than Snow White. Other than that I can think of off the top of my head. So what do you do to make Germany a World Showcase better?
All right. My ride is a Grimm's Fairy Tale ride. And so we take the Disney retellings of the Grimm's Fairy Tale and we have a narrator who's kind of explaining the cultural background of the fairy tale as we kind of go past scenes of the Disney recreations, because we're not going to get too graphic here because kids are obviously going to ride this. So that would be sort of my take on this thing, because they've got the warehouse back there for it.
That was where the Rhine River Cruise is supposed to go, correct?
Yes.
They had the show building made, and then they just pulled the budget.
And if you look at the entrance to Beer Garden, which is on your left, on your right is a huge archway, and my understanding is that's a temporary wall that's just stayed there for 40 years.
That's such a bummer.
And could be easily removed and turned into the entranceway of the attraction.
That's such a shame. That I hate when I hear stuff like that, because like even if that attraction wasn't the best, it would have been a fun bad attraction and another attraction in World Showcase.
I think we would have been looking at something equivalent to Maelstrom. Something that was maybe not Haunted Mansion level, but definitely something that had a little charm to it.
Yeah.
And I think that was a boat ride down the Rhine River. And maybe past like miniatures of German things, I guess.
That'd be cool. I mean, they have that at Disneyland with the storybook canal boats, so that definitely that idea definitely works. I mean, that thing's been there since that was an opening day attraction, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I doubt we're getting anything that's not IP driven, and I can't think besides Snow White of anything that seems like it's set in Germany.
Yeah, I can't think of anything either. I was trying to think about that, and I mean, you could do a Snow White ride, but why would you do that?
Considering they just took out one and just added one.
Yeah, that's probably not the smartest move. I can't think of any IP-driven Germany property, but...
Victory Through Air Power?
Oh, that's a good one.
That's For those of you who don't know, Victory Through Air Power was a documentary produced by Walt Disney on how to defeat the Germans by bombing them from afar.
You could do the.
You have to explain the joke.
You could do a boat ride through that cartoon where Donald Duck was a Nazi.
Oh, Der Führer's face. Yes.
You could do that.
Or Donald in Nazi Land, depending on which title you read.
Oh God, I actually watched that once and I was like, what? This would never happen today. They would never put like Mickey Mouse in like a ISIS get up, and like that just would not happen.
You are probably correct.
Yeah, that wouldn't work. There would be so much backlash on that. But it's different times, man. People loved it. All right, let's move on before we get to talking about Nazis. I mean, I guess you could put Indiana Jones if you want to go. If you want to go Nazi.
That's true. That is another IP.
It belongs in a museum. You could do that, I guess.
We could always get another classic European fairy tale, though I kind of doubt it. I mean, could Rapunzel be German? That sounds Germanish.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think a lot of those were, either most of the fairy tales were Grimm's fairy tales, like you mentioned, or they were the Hans Christian Andersen stuff. So they kind of fall into one of those two categories. And honestly, to me, I know they're very different cultures, but to me, they're kind of interchangeable. I guess you could do a Hansel and Gretel ride.
That's true. You could do Hansel and Gretel. There's no Disney IP there, but there is kind of once again.
That's a timeless story. Everybody knows that.
Brothers Grimm.
Yeah.
You've got kind of the Big Bad Wolf, and I think isn't Big Bad Wolf a Brothers Grimm story?
Yeah. You know what they could just. Yeah. I like the Three Little Pigs too, the Disney version.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like that? Yeah, that's great. That kind of goes back with your idea of adding just all of the fairy tales into one ride. I think it's a smart idea because there's actually, now that I'm thinking about it, there's a lot more of those like silly symphonies and that kind of stuff that was, German fairy tales.
Back before they did the Frozen ride in Norway, that was my pitch for the Norway ride, to do Hans Christian Andersen.
That's great.
And you do Little Mermaid, you do a little Frozen, and then you rename the whole area Scandinavia because he was Danish.
Gotcha.
And your expansion is things from Sweden and Denmark. So you kind of create one pavilion, like the Equatorial Africa Pavilion, that celebrates a region instead of just a specific country.
Yep. Smart man, you are, my friend. So
they don't. Then they built the Frozen ride with the Olaf who breaks down.
So what do you know?
Yeah.
Actually, remind me to tell you a story about that Olaf that breaks down after we get off here.
All right.
And remind me to tell you something. All right, let's move on to the next country here, and it is good old Italy. Now, to me, the only thing this is lacking is, again, something to do, because the architecture is beautiful. Via Napoli is awesome. There's just not a lot to do here. I don't know the size-wise, but to me, this one always felt like the smallest pavilion.
You're right. It doesn't. It kind of goes back, but then it just kind of dead ends at the restaurant.
Yeah.
It's got that nice statue there. I think is that Poseidon or Neptune on the.
Yeah, one of the two. Yeah. It depends. Yeah.
Well,
it's Italy, so it'd be Rome, so it'd be Roman, so it would be Poseidon.
Sure, we'll go with that.
I could be wrong. God knows I'll get corrected on Twitter. Yeah. I don't. It's just there's not a lot of space to do anything. Here's what I would drop in there. I would drop in a art gallery like you have in Morocco, and you just have a rotating art gallery, and you bring in Italian art by Michelangelo and Da Vinci, and you get their like the lesser, like really low down on their list, but like it's a Da Vinci. It's a Da Vinci.
It may not be the Da Vinci, it may not be the one you all know, but it's a Da Vinci.
That's a smart move.
And I'm sure you could kind of get those on loan without too much trouble. And you can always advertise like, we've got Da Vinci's here, we've got Michelangelo's here, we've got, Italian Renaissance painters on a constant rotation.
That's a smart move. Now, here's another question, and I tell everyone all the time that I'm dumb. No one believes me. Is this where they do the canal boat rides? Is Italy known for that, or is that another country?
Yeah, that's in Venice.
Okay, Venice. Okay, couldn't you just do like that? Couldn't you just do like maybe out in front of them at World Showcase and kind of have an area blocked off and do like a canal thing, or make it an attraction?
I think that'd be great. I think you'd need to go indoors though. I mean, I just don't see people sitting out in a hot. I mean, Epcot is hot.
Yeah, dude, trust me. I was there 2 days ago. Yeah, it's hot.
Yeah, and getting people out on the water, in the canal boat to kind of circle the World Showcase probably isn't going to get people too happy.
I think you're right, and I think if you did it inside, you could do it at night, which it kind of seems like a more romantic vibe for that kind of thing anyway, and just load it 2x2 and send people on their way. Make it like an omnimover almost, have a guy like fake
You might
pedaling.
have some capacity issues, but
yeah, we can figure that out later. That'd be kind of cool though, and it reminds me of the Mediterranean resort that they were going to build on the north side of the TTC that was going to have that inside the resort.
Yeah.
Kind of reminiscent of that. So it's another one of those pavilions for me where it's like I have an idea for a few other ones here, but like Italy, it's so small. I just don't know what you do and like how far back you can go. And
now I've heard they might, I've heard people speculate that they could drop in Pinocchio's daring journey into Italy.
that'd be good.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be another kind of like Frozen where it doesn't really,
Fit.
It's like, I guess it's set in Italy, which is an advantage on Frozen.
Yeah, because Arendelle's not real, you guys, and it is not at all in Norway. But it fits kind of. God,
Yeah,
that
it's
ride's
Norwegian-ish.
awesome. I love that ride so
Norwegian-ish.
much. I hate that I love it as much as I do. I really do, but it's so good. I'm telling you.
I mean,
it's so funny because
it's
people.
not hypocritical to say it's a good ride. It just doesn't belong here.
Totally. I get why they put it there. Breathe some new life into World Showcase, and it's kind of weird that opening at 9 o'clock in the morning now. People making the rush straight to Frozen instead of like Test Track or something.
If La Cava opened at 9 a.m.
Oh my God, that's where I'll be. I'll see you guys there at 9 a.m. Blood orange margaritas all around.
That sounds like a breakfast food.
Oh, it is. It's the breakfast of champions, man. You're not in on this. You don't know. So I wouldn't mind seeing Pinocchio there. That'd be welcome. Here's the thing, man. I have 2 kids. When I have my kids now, with the exception of the Frozen ride in Mexico, we don't really go to World Showcase. They're just too young. Like when my son is like 7 or 8, and he kind of understands that like these are all representations of different countries. But now it's just like it's water to him. You know what I mean? He's looking at the water.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about anything else. So Mexico and Norway are the only 2 stops in World Showcase for us, and that is such a bummer. Well, sometimes we do the American Adventure just because I like it and I make him sit there, but that's a long show to try to get a 4-year-old to sit down for.
I understand.
So speaking of the American Adventure, let's move over there because this is another one of those things that I think you could do. There's some Disney properties that would go really well in this if you're trying to do that. Disney, because that's what they seem to be doing now, just IP and everything.
Yeah.
So go ahead, man. I'm gonna let you start.
I
off
am
American
pumping
Adventure.
the brakes on this and saying, do not touch it. Do not change anything. Do not no.
I'm with you. It's perfect.
Well, part of it is, and this is me being a pride in my country. This is the representation of my nation that I want the international tourists to see. So there is that like this is the story I want to tell the international people who see the American Adventure about America.
Totally.
So it's
wait, hang on. Are you telling me that you don't want to see Donald Trump put in the American Adventure? Is that what you're telling me? Is that what you're saying?
If he is elected by
How
a
dare you.
majority of Americans, he can go in Hall of Presidents.
Want to make Hall of Presidents great again?
Yeah. Okay.
The thought of that makes me angry. I'm with you. That's a good. You're right. That's a very good cultural representation of what America is and should stand for.
It is aspirational, and I understand people who say like it kind of, it shows America in perhaps a more positive light than it really is in dealing with its national sins.
But that's all of these countries.
Yeah.
I mean, Mexico doesn't talk about the cartels and stuff.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
So I mean, these are all idealistic versions of this. I mean, Germany doesn't talk about World War II and Hitler and all that stuff, and we don't talk about slavery and that. I mean, we do. We kind of. But we do. We do touch on it on that.
It is brought up as sort of national sins that are happened in the past, but
But that's
I don't think there's
country.
wrong with presenting an idealistic version of the country, and
Totally.
that's why I don't want them to touch it, because I think they would screw it up.
Yep, I think you're right. That's a really, really good one. The only thing I could see, and this is not what I'm trying to do with these pavilions, but this is how they kind of keep going. I think it would be cool to have like the Tall Tales section of American Adventure to get some of the folklore in, like oh god, why can't I think of the name?
Pecos Bill.
Pecos
and that
Bill.
Sort of thing.
Yeah, what was the special that came out? Paul Bunyan and Paul Henry.
John Henry.
John Henry. Gosh, that's my favorite one of those things too. I think it'd be kind of cool to have that, because we have Disney versions of those, and kind of maybe put that off to the side in a separate thing. And
here is the one thing I think we could fix is the food.
Oh my God, yes, you're right.
I mean, it's like America actually doesn't have food besides hot dogs and hamburgers.
Like, same thing with Africa, though.
Well, that's true. Fair enough. That's not a real pavilion.
Yeah, I know.
Just a stopover.
It's not even close to a real pavilion.
We do have go down to the south, go to New England, go to all these places. They have food culture.
Totally,
it's a real thing.
Yeah.
So
like they should have some Louisiana. They should have some from they should have north, south, east, west, and do like pizza, like New York style pizza, and do fried chicken, and do some Louisiana like some Creole food like gumbo or something.
Yeah.
And then they should have Texas like Tex-Mex because that's kind of American food now. And then they should do like West Coast stuff like kale salads and that a wide variety of stuff because you're right, there are very different food cultures.
I mean, you'd have to have like something the size of Sunshine Seasons to accommodate sort of a swath of American food, but totally. I don't know if they have the space there, but I would like to see some improvement over Liberty Inn or whatever it's called.
God, yes. Okay, am I the only person who gets angry when they see that place crowded? Like, what are you guys doing? You can get this wherever you want. I don't get it. I've never eaten there, and that trend is going to continue.
Yeah.
All right, so we both agree American Adventure is pretty fantastic. It's much like Mexico, but there's not a lot you could do even if you wanted to, just because it's almost perfect. Mm-hmm. So let's move on to another one that I think is pretty close to perfect, Japan.
I like Japan. I think Japan is ripe for an attraction.
Agreed.
But I don't quite know what that would be.
I got a great idea for you. Ready?
All right, let's hear it.
Big Hero 6.
Ooh, we're getting into Frozen territory, where it's not really Japan.
You're right. San Francisco. You're right.
And to me, I don't know, just maybe because
San
Francisco, it feels very San Francisco.
You're totally right. Actually, I have a better idea than that. How about like a bullet train simulator?
Oh, okay. I could do that.
That'd be kind of cool because then it would be like it'd be an attraction, but it would also be something that is culturally relevant. Mm-hmm. Or like you could just do what they had planned to do and do like Mount Fuji.
I think that would be a great attraction as well.
Do you know the history of why they didn't do that?
I know the history. I know they had an attraction called Welcome to the World that they were going to clone from Tokyo. Did you hear that? Have you heard this story?
I don't think so.
I don't know the. Okay, so the original attraction that was going in there, and it was going to be like, where the gates are, right? That was the entrance to the attraction, where that kind of drawbridge is, and you walk in, and now it's just the shop and the sake bars on your left.
Yep.
That's the entrance to the attraction, and it's a theater show that goes to the history of Japan. Now, what's the problem with the history of Japan?
I did hear this. Yes, I did hear this.
And what state in the Union has the most World War II veterans?
The one right next door.
Yay!
World Showcase.
Well, and Florida, you know.
Yeah.
So it was very difficult for them to skate around the, and then something bad happened.
Yeah, I've heard that story.
Part of the
and then something went terribly wrong twice on purpose.
So, but tell me the story about Mount Fuji.
So Mount Fuji was going to be a roller coaster type attraction that was there, kind of similar to like a Matterhorn or something like that. Something similar to that. And the reason that they didn't do it is because Kodak sponsored the Imagination Pavilion, and they didn't want Fuji and Fujifilm to be kind of confused. So that is why that died, because you can't rename it something else if it's not Japan. So that died.
Okay.
It's such a stupid... Corporations ruin everything.
Well, I can't... They also provide all the money for Epcot.
Yes, that's a good point. So, but that would have been cool to see that there.
Now that Nikon is the sponsor, I mean, maybe that can come about.
That'd be cool, right? And now Fujifilm, is that even a company anymore?
I don't know. Nobody's making film anymore, totally. So they might be doing something else.
Interesting. All right, let's move on to my favorite / least favorite pavilion.
Okay.
Morocco. Now, here's the thing about Morocco. I've gone on record saying this is my favorite World Showcase pavilion, and it is because I think they just did a great job of capturing Morocco in the sense of like when you're walking through the streets, you can like kind of get lost back there. You go into a building and you're just kind of like you feel like you're there, as opposed to it being like a shiny representation of that idea. I've always
There
said,
are much more twists and turns in
Totally.
Morocco. You really can walk back and feel completely immersed.
yeah,
Unlike Italy or something.
yeah. I feel I've said this before. I wish they would take what they did with Morocco and kind of make the basis of Star Wars experience. Because I want those I want to feel like I'm actually there. I want to feel like it's actually like an old lived-in town. And I think they did a really good job with that. But again, there's just not a lot back here. There's shops, and it's just kind of trinkets and weird stuff I've never seen anyone buy anything from Morocco. I don't get it, and I don't really know what you do here. The food is not great. I mean, they have what's the counter service place there?
There is the Tangerine Cafe, which
yep.
I will defend.
Oh, I love I love that place.
That
That was gonna say. That was what I was gonna say. That place is fantastic. The sit down restaurant Spice Road Table is the problem.
Well, there's also Restaurant Marrakesh.
Yes,
I believe, which is
I always
back
forget
there.
about that place too.
That is incredibly popular with Saudi Arabian tourists.
Really?
Yes, that is their primary market. I don't know. Well, I shouldn't say primary. That is a huge market for them.
Interesting. I've never been back there.
I haven't either. It's pretty pricey, and I believe there's belly dancing.
Seriously?
So, I think so. Double check your entertainment guide before you book your reservation.
Oh well, see, I'm going to cancel it now if there's not.
But I understand Spice Road Table has had its issues.
Yeah, it's one of those restaurants where you just walk by and they're like, "Hey, do you guys hungry? Do you want to come and sit down?" They literally have barkers out front because there's no one there, and it's weird because it's such a beautiful spot.
That should be prime. Prime Illuminations.
Totally.
Seating
I don't know why they haven't just, because I mean, dude, there's literally no one there. There's never anyone there. Like I'm surprised they haven't. I really am surprised that Disney hasn't closed that restaurant and just made that dessert party space. Because you don't even make any money back on that.
Yeah.
So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we see that in the future. But
just remember, Morocco is funded by the monarch of Morocco.
You're right. That is true.
So there are, you talk about corporate interests. It's like a corporate interest, except it's also the government and the monarch. So
what would you do to make Morocco better than it is today, my friend?
I wonder if you could fit in a Soarin'-like attraction into Morocco that plays off of the magic carpet, flying carpet theme. With the premise that this is the only thing in World Showcase that's kind of a glimpse into the Muslim world, and so you could show sort of that region of the world through the lens, and maybe Morocco just wants to show Morocco, and that's fine too.
Mm-hmm.
But it really is unique.
That's a great idea. I like the magic carpet tie-in there too.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be Aladdin. It can just be a magic carpet, but it gives you that kind of feel of that region of the world.
Yeah, I like that idea, man. That's a great idea. Morocco doesn't have a film, right?
No.
So there's
they do have that art gallery.
I like that art gallery. That is cool. I didn't think they had a film. That would be a good step too, just making a film for Morocco.
That would be great. Yeah.
Yeah. Morocco's a tough one because it's just I think that's really honestly what we've learned so far is that the problem with this, it's like, well, what do you put?
Yeah.
So maybe that's why nothing's happened. Yeah. You got any other ideas of Morocco? I'm kind of drawing a blank on this one.
I guess if more belly dancers.
Hey, I'm for that. By the way, this is going to sound weird, but the Moroccan women are some of the most beautiful women on the planet. Have you ever walked by like that and just like looked at people? They're great. They're all beautiful.
Okay, fair enough.
They are all beautiful, including the men. They're all gorgeous. Makes me angry.
They actually only allow pretty people into their Epcot program.
That I think
it's
so.
Government policy.
I think that's probably true because I'm telling you, they're all gorgeous. So let's move on to France now. And France is another one of these pavilions where it's like there's a lot of really good stuff in France. I think you get a feel for the culture there with the bakery there, the patisserie, the gelato place. I've never had any of the food from France though, except during Food and Wine.
Okay. Yes, I've eaten at the bakery. I've never eaten at the sit-down restaurants, but I've eaten at the bakery and at the gelato place, and
Is the gelato
had
good?
some sweet champagne.
I've had that champagne too, actually.
Yeah. No, I had a uh, ice cream martini, which was excellent. Like, alcohol and ice cream together, served in a giant martini glass. It was fantastic.
Wow, that does sound good. Yummy. All right, so France, they have the Impressions de France.
Yes.
Update that.
I love it as is, but should we address what we think might be coming to France?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
The obvious one that I think everyone's kind of been talking about is the Ratatouille ride.
Yep, and we're coming up on the 4-year exclusive at Disneyland Paris?
Yeah, something along
those lines. In the next 2 or 3 years, we should, or 2 years or so, we should have, maybe it was 5 years. But over the next 5 years, we should see that, and believe this is still correct. Tom Fitzgerald is now the guy that's involved with the creative stuff at Epcot, and he's the guy who was the main person behind the Ratatouille ride. So it's all kind of lining up for that to be the case. Now, it's one of those things, do you retrofit other stuff to be Gusteau's and kind of make it a whole Ratatouille pavilion, much like they did with Norway, or do you kind of leave everything else and just put that attraction in?
If I was the Imagineer assigned to this, first of all, the Palace of Cinema that you enter, I think Impressions de France is biting the dust.
Yep.
That's just a space issue. Basically, that becomes the entrance to Gusteau's, and then the bakery that you exit through is rerouted into a restaurant for the exit, like they have in France. The rat-themed restaurant that's a little more kid-friendly.
I like that. Have you watched the ride-through of that attraction?
I've watched a ride-through, but I've never watched a good one, I guess.
I don't think that's true. I think it's just 3D. Dude, I can't figure out what's going on and how that works.
Yeah.
I think it's just that good of an attraction. Because I've
not all attractions film well. So.
Yeah, I've ridden it. I've watched it, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I can't figure out how this is working. If it's one giant screen, or if it's, I don't know. It's one of the. If you don't know what we're talking about, look it up on YouTube, because it's really interesting, and it's very, very popular over at Disneyland Paris.
Yeah. I think based on what they've got there, if they're willing to spend a little bit more money in development, they could push that more educational too. I mean, they could push that towards Epcot, where you are having some experience about learning about how a French kitchen works, which is a huge cultural part of France.
Totally. That's a great idea too. Like they could do like an hourly, like, learn how to cook seminar type deal. I think that'd be actually really interesting.
I think you could just update the pre-shows, and did you ever see the short that they did on What's Wrong with Rats, or I forget exactly what it was called, but it was on the Ratatouille DVD, and it was like a history of rats given by Remy and whatever his cousin's name was.
I don't think so.
But I had basically the DVD, it's Remy trying
to
basically it's Remy trying to teach you about rats, and I think you could do a pre-show that was kind of similar to that. And then you go off on the Madcap adventure, which is just more avoiding the chef kind of thing.
That's awesome. I like your idea, man. That's good. And I really do think that at some point that'll happen.
I would bet on it.
I would actually be more shocked if it didn't happen than if it did.
Yeah.
And now that I think about it, wasn't his brother's name Camille? Emil?
Camille. That sounds
Emil?
right.
Yeah,
Emil?
Like Emil? Something like that.
Yeah.
Something ill. All right, now let's go on to one of the ones that this is the one that was the trickiest one for me to think about, because I just don't know enough about the actual culture to really have an opinion on what you should do with this.
Are we talking about Britain?
Yeah,
the UK
United
now?
Kingdom. Yeah,
I've got it. I've got the
go
ride.
for it, because God knows I have no idea.
We're dropping a ride in, obviously, dropping an attraction in. The attraction looks like a merry-go-round. You get on it, and then you go through basically what's pretty tight green rides that create sort of the motion tunnel effect as you go past British landscapes, and it's narrated by Julie Andrews.
See, I love that idea, and I had that exact same ride vehicle concept for an attraction for Mary Poppins. That was my thought. The same thing. You get on a carousel horse, and you could kind of use the same ride vehicle system as like the old skyways and like the Blizzard Beach ski lift. You could do it that way and kind of make the horse move up and down on that. That was kind of my thought on it.
See, I was thinking
just Mary
basically it's a
Poppins.
quarter of a carousel with kind of a moving, so it can go around curves, kind of a moving platform basis. But you've also got to have chariots so you can be wheelchair friendly.
Yeah.
But I think it's a dead on. It works with British culture. It comes from Mary Poppins. You have that little bit of a tie-in, but the IP is not too strong.
Yeah.
And you get Julie Andrews.
Who doesn't love Julie Andrews?
Exactly.
That's a
P.T.
great
Travers.
idea.
That's who doesn't love Julie Andrews.
Yeah, she's dead now, so who cares? That's a good idea, man. I like that idea. And you know what's so funny to me? Everyone always says how much everyone loves Mary Poppins, and the fact that there's not a Mary Poppins attraction is so baffling to me.
Well, I think this would be a way to do it without doing it. You can have that kind of
Feel.
steal that scene from the movie, but then you can actually show different parts of England, Scotland, Wales, or if Scotland's still in the UK by next year,
Yeah. Oh. You know what you could do too? Instead of having Julie Andrews narrate it, you could just have Adele singing the whole time. Just "Hello from the East," as you're going through parts of the UK. That's a good idea, right?
Or
Everyone
you
would be
could have
crying and sad.
Or you could have John Cleese.
Ooh, that's actually a really good one. John Cleese would actually be a really good narrator.
He would. It would definitely give it a different tone.
That'd be very funny, actually. That'd be great. I actually kind of like both of those. The Julie Andrews would kind of remind me of like Spaceship Earth, like that kind of narration. But the John Cleese one would be really interesting and funny, kind of like Martin Short did in The Making of Me.
Yeah, it would. It's two different attractions, but I'm really seeing this as mostly a screen-based attraction, like a Soarin', except you're on
a carousel horse.
You're on a carousel horse.
I like it, man. That's a cool idea. I'm into that one. Let's do that. Let's call Imagineering right now.
Great.
All right, man. So last but not least.
Well, a little bit least.
A little bit least. It's kind of least.
Kind of least.
Canada. Let's talk about Canada. Good old Canada.
All right, we got our positives. I mean, you can't touch Le Cellier, right?
No, you can't touch Le Cellier. I love Le Cellier.
I've never been.
That's like my go-to lunch spot. Oh my god.
Really?
Dude. Yeah. One of my favorite things to do is to go spend a half day at Epcot in the morning and then go to Le Cellier for lunch and just get a light lunch, get a poutine, and then leave. And then go to Hollywood Studios and enjoy Star Wars fireworks. That's like one of my favorite things to do. That place
You're
is
getting
so
that cast
good.
member discount there then, because
Yeah, we don't talk about that. It's actually not that much at Le Cellier, but
fair enough.
like you're in and out for under $10, cast member discount or not, you can figure it out.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
It's cheaper than I thought.
Yeah, it's not expensive. The steaks and stuff are what's expensive, but you can eat there relatively inexpensively. So, this is another one too. It's kind of weird because you kind of have like that little weird store with all the Canadian merchandise in it. And I feel like this is kind of a joke pavilion. Like they kind of play into it.
You mean with the Martin Short film? Or?
Yeah, like everything is just kind of like kind of like one note. Like the gift shop is they have maple syrup in the gift shop, and I don't know. It just kind of feels weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, people have talked about dropping a Brother Bear raft ride in there, which I'm not sure is the hottest IP at this point.
Yeah, probably not. Well, the thing about this is, and I just kind of, I probably shouldn't say this, but I just know that back there isn't that much room to expand.
Yeah. Yeah, but you could take it out towards imagination. I mean, you do have a little bit if you push sort of that direction.
Not with the new Soarin' show building.
Oh,
that's
really?
kind of
Okay.
that's kind of where that backs up to.
Fair enough.
So there's really not much you can do with this. I just kind of wish it wasn't so jokey. Am I thinking about this right? Yeah, that's where the Soarin' show building. Now, how many seconds I give myself? Yeah, that's where the new Soarin' show building is.
Mm-hmm.
And it backs up to there quite a bit too. It's that show building is huge. I don't know, man. Like there's no IPs to tie in here. The Martin Short film it's okay.
It's not my favorite.
Yeah, it's not my favorite either. I don't know what you do here. Just don't close the Cellier. There were rumors at one point that they were going to put a bar on the second floor of what is that building? There's like a building that you kind of overlook, and they were actually talking about putting a bar in there at one point, and that kind of fell through. don't know. It's just a weird pavilion. The rock work is interesting to look at. If you could do something like with that, maybe do like a small Fountain of Nations show back there. I don't know. There's just nothing to do there. This is like the pavilion where I really, if I'm not going to Le Cellier, I don't even like pay attention to it.
I mean, Canada's just a hard. It's going to be a hard national story to tell as well.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have the kind of grand revolution. You don't have the, the years of art. It's in an odd state. So.
Yeah, man, that's the toughest one, I think, for me anyway. Is like, well, it's one of those things that I don't know enough about it, but I really don't think there's a lot to know as far as like their culture. I mean, they're just kind of like us, just a lot.
I'm sure they would disagree.
Just a lot colder. Well, that's it, man. That was our. We finally finished up our look at World Showcase. So why don't you tell everyone before we wrap this up here? Give everybody another rundown of all the stuff you're doing with the film and everything. Give it another go.
We are raising money for the post-production costs. No one who's working on this film in really the high creative capacity is making a dime off of it, but we do have to hire some people to finish off the project, and that's what we're raising money for. Fundraising is ending on Sunday evening of the 10th, so you have only a few hours probably at this point to get your pledge in. And you might be asking yourself, why should I pledge now when I can probably just buy the movie later? And you're right, you will be able to buy the movie later. First of all, if you pre-order now, you'll get it earlier. But second of all, we can actually use the money that you spend now to make the movie better. Whereas if you just buy it when it comes out, the movie's already done. So there's nothing we can do.
Yep.
So that's really why we are relying on Kickstarter pledges at this point. We really do appreciate everyone who is donating and pledging, and you get awesome rewards. We're trying to give you a lot of value for those pledges.
Well, it's a great project, man. I can't wait to see the finished product. I'm really excited about it. It sounds really funny, and I really look forward to seeing this. It's been a pleasure, my friend. If there's anything I can do to help you out further down the road, just let me know.
All right,
I'd be more than happy to help you out. And give them your Twitter handle and all that stuff, Mr. Lancaster.
Twitter is at waltzfrozenhead.com, or sorry, twitter.com/waltzfrozenhead. It's getting late.
Yeah.
No O in Frozen. No O in Frozen. Facebook.com/waltzfrozenhead with its O. That's mostly movie news. And waltzfrozenhead.com.
Fantastic, guys. Please go check out this project. I cannot wait to see this when it's done. I'll probably do a review of it on the podcast once it gets done, and I really hope to see it completed. And I want it to not even completed. I want it to be completed the way that you guys want it completed. So that was one of the reasons why I was like, yeah, let's get you on here as soon as possible. So thanks so much for coming on, man. I'll do my whole spiel here. You can follow me on Twitter at Daily Disney Blog. You can also check out the YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Daily Disney Blog. And there's a bunch of other crap, but I'm too tired and don't really want to think about it. But you guys know where to find me. Just Twitter and YouTube. That's the best way to figure it out. So that is going to do it for us. Benjamin, thank you so much for coming on the show, my friend. And you have an open invitation. You know this anytime you want to come on the show and talk. I know you got your hands full with the film and all that stuff, but anytime you want to come talk, we can talk. And I really appreciate you giving me your time, bud.
Not a problem. I really appreciate being on, and maybe we'll do a round of Around the Magic Kingdom armchair imagineering sometime.
I'm in, my friend. Let's do it.
All right.
See you, buddy.
Bye.
Hey, it's Brad again, and thank you for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. It means a lot to me that you download each and every episode, and I want to thank you personally from the bottom of my heart. I love Disney, and I love getting the chance to make your day even just a little bit more magical. Thanks again, and I will see you on the next show.